Let's see. How about we start out with The Ghost and Mr. Chicken?
Okay.
You all remember that movie?
Yes.
So anyway, that was a little Disney. Got any questions?
Where's the pipes that go with this?
There's two rooms, one above the other here, and 3 on that side. And so there are 5 chambers for the organ. Most of the drums and cymbals are in the bottom one over here. Some of the percussions are here, and some of the percussions are over there. So anything that you hear that sounds like a xylophone or a marimba or bells, they're real. There were no electronic voices in 1929. So when you needed bass drums and cymbals and all that stuff, you actually had to have bass drums and cymbals. And all the drums, you can get a little quick idea of them. So, you know, they're actually up there, and we've got all kinds of cymbals. Yeah. There are all kinds of sound effects. This thing was designed originally with the idea of accompanying silent movies and being the soundtrack for them. So if you had an airplane in 1929, they called it an aeroplane. So you had to have it flying by. We have the storm. We have train bell. It's a real bell. We have the sleigh bells and slapsticks and triangle, car horns, doorbell, boat whistle. Yeah. So there were all kinds of things for you to do accents in the films to add the voice to it. So it does many things. It can be very, very soft. Has a little flute way up in top in the E chamber over there. It's called a harmonic flute, and it sounds a lot like somebody actually playing a flute. A little nice, breathy little flute. We have the French horns. The clarinet. We have all kind of strings available. That's the yellow ones are the strings. They're pipes that are supposed to sound like violins. So there's all kind of imitative voices and things like that. They're color-coded to make them easier to find. The reds are the woodwinds and the brass, the yellows are the strings, the greens are the bells and ding-dongs and what have you, and that sort of thing. So that way you can find them when you're in a hurry. So, yes?
Is there a saxophone?
Yeah. Now, bear in mind, when the saxophone came along, they hadn't made up their mind how to spell it. So on here it's S-A-X-A-P-H-O-N-E. But anyway, it's a reed pipe that sounds it's supposed to be sort of like a sax. You kind of have to use your imagination a little bit. But anyway, that's what they call the saxophone. We have the English horn. then we have the big brass, the post horns, and so you can get festive with it if you want to. But
How many
anyway,
different sounds are there?
there are 42 sets of pipes, different voices, and then about 22 different percussion and trap instruments as well. So
This pipe organ has 3,622 pipes
Yeah.
in these two chambers.
Oh, wow.
and
It's gigantic.
the highest pitch in the organ is this one. I tell people this is what we call it the dog whistle.
Wow.
And the lowest one is divided up. There are 6 pipes here and 6 over there. The tallest one is 32 feet, over 32 feet, and it sounds like this. Way back before subwoofers.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's the type of things it does, and give you an idea of kind of its. You might use it for ballad type stuff. So that's sort of what it does.
Nice.
You know, does a nice variety of things.
I think it's what you do also, not just what it does. Very well done.
Well, yeah. Well, we get along. We understand each other, and you know, it's this is my baby. I've been playing around on this thing since about 1970. So,
Are you the only organist here?
no, for years Bob Van Camp was here. He was house organist when it was a film theater, and then Larry Douglas came in for the last 14 years. He just recently passed, and so now Ken Double and I kind of share the duty. I'm a full-time church organist, so he does Wednesdays and Sundays and that sort of thing because I have services and choirs. But we swap off, and so a lot of times for Broadway, I'm here Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. He's here Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and so you'll hear either one of us, and we play a little different in style, so that way you get a variety, you know. But
So this is still playing the shows today.
yeah, we do the pre-shows, and one thing that's kind of fun to do is you can have a little fun with it with the drums and stuff. So you have a little fun with it and just enjoy it.
Thank you. Can you
Sure.
play something dramatic like Bach's Toccata or Phantom of the Opera or something for Halloween?
Yeah, do you want the Bach color or do you want the Phantom?
Bach.
Bach, all right. Let's take a couple of things out of here that don't need to be here for that. And we want that and that and that. And so you would have, well, with the reeds.
Hear the wind blowing through the pipes up there?
It's the only piece anybody thinks an organist knows.
But it's so appropriate for us on Halloween
Well, and it's
and our ghost tours.
it's good for, you know, it's great. We do have they do have weddings here, so you could do things like. So you could do those kind of things too. So anyway, this instrument luckily can handle just about any period of literature you throw at it. So it does just exactly what we need.
What year was it installed?
It was here for opening day, Christmas Day, 1929.
Wow.
And it was designed specifically for the Fox Theater.
Yeah, the Shriners who started the building usually contracted with Moeller for the organs for their auditoriums. That's why we have a Moeller here instead of a Mighty Wurlitzer, which I'm so happy. Yeah. I mean, I love Wurlitzer and all that. I played many of them, but this instrument is about half concert, half theater. So you can do serious stuff and you can do the fun stuff, and that's what makes it all really work so well. You can cover just about whatever you need, you know. So anyway.
Thank you. Any final questions for Rick?
When you're doing your pre-shows,
Yes.
is there a way that you select the playlist, or is it?
Oh yeah. I pick my own.
Okay.
And what I try to do is find things maybe that I think will be kind of in tune with the audience and the show, but I stay off of the music of that show because they're in-house, they're doing the show. You're fixing to hear 2 hours of that music. So we just recently had this little show in-house. King and I and all that. So, you know, but we try to stay away from the in-house show music and, you know, let them have it.
Sure.
But you try to find things suitable, you know. So I did a lot of Oriental and Persian type things, and a little bit of
You're standing on it. This elevator. It's all the way down.
Scheherazade and, you know, things like that. So
Well, thank you very much. I
Glad to
appreciate
do.
it so much.
glad to do.
Because they have a wedding here.
They have had some in here. Normally they have them in the Egyptian ballroom upstairs, simply because of safety regulations and staffing. But over the years, there have actually been weddings. If you go back and look in some of the old photos of the theater, you will actually see a bride and groom coming up on stage. They had steps for them to come up, and you know. So.
I just wondered how much they charge to be.
That I don't know.
Is this the biggest organ you play, or is there a bigger one, or what's the?
Well, it's got the biggest console. No, the
Compared to your church organ.
yeah. Well, the organ I've got at home is a digital that actually would be bigger than this, but it's all digital. There's no
Yeah.
pipes. But I've recently been playing stuff up at Wanamaker's in Philadelphia. That's 469 ranks. This is 42.
Okay.
And it has 6 keyboards and about 1,250 stops. And then also we're working on the one in Atlantic City in the ballroom, and then also in Boardwalk Hall where they do Miss America.
Okay.
And that one's 7 rows of keys and 439 sets of pipes.
So this is a small one.
Well, but for a theater, it's a big one. It's very large. It was only outranked by Radio City Music Hall.
At the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, it's but it's very well laid out, very easy to get around. Does it sort of make sense?
Yeah, I mean, like, let's say, for example, you went to Atlantic City. Are the keys laid out in a fairly similar way? Or?
There is an order to it. That's more of a classical romantic organ, so it's a little bit different. In a classical organ, normally each keyboard is a separate organ.
Okay.
has its own pipes and all that. But in a theater organ, since you don't have a lot of space for a lot of ranks, then everywhere that you see this 4-foot tibia clausa, wherever it appears, that's the same pipe.
Okay.
But you can get to them from all the different keyboards, so you can get a lot of sound out of fewer resources.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Sure.